Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Scary Stories for Brave Kids. Today we're going to be talking about yokai. Yokai are supernatural creatures from Japanese folklore. Yokai can be monsters, spirits, demons, ghosts, transformed beings, urban legends, beings or things possessed by spirits, and much more. Rather than telling just one story, we're going to be introducing several of these creatures tonight. Some are harmless, some are dangerous, and some just like to pull pranks on people. One of the most well-known yokai is the Kitsune. Kitsune look like foxes and may have up to 9 tails. The more powerful the Kitsune, the more tails they have. They are tricksters and shapeshifters and can be either good or evil. This is usually determined on how people treat them. They are loyal and will keep their promises and repay favors done for them. Some Kitsune serve Inari, the Shinto deity of agriculture, to whom foxes are sacred. Kitsune work as Inari's messengers or attendants. These Kitsune help good humans. They will protect people or places, or bring good luck to them, or help keep evil spirits away. Other Kitsune are wild. These creatures are more mischievous and can be evil. They may transform into other monsters to scare people, and they can also transform into specific people. Some Kitsune spend most of their lives as a human. However, they have been known to slip up when they are startled or excited and reveal their true nature by accidentally revealing a tail or fur or fangs or something of that sort. Kitsune can also take over humans' bodies by possessing them. There are 3 main types of Kitsune possession. In the first type, a Kitsune takes over an individual human's body. This allows the Kitsune to control the person like a puppet. This will cause the person to act strangely. They may have sudden outbursts or start acting like a fox. Kitsune often possess someone as an act of revenge. Kitsune can also possess a family. The Kitsune will bring their chosen family great wealth and prosperity and bring bad fortune upon the family's enemies. Families will take care of their Kitsune for generations since they know the Kitsune could just as easily turn around and ruin them. It's not all as good of an arrangement as it may seem, though. These families are feared and untrusted by their neighbors. Finally, people can summon Kitsune into their bodies and act as a medium. The Kitsune would then talk through the medium's mouth to predict the future or share secret knowledge. This is a dangerous thing to do, though, as Kitsune are very powerful and may not want to leave the medium's body right away, if at all. Kitsune are clever, so how do you tell if a person is possessed by one? There are some telltale signs. First, the person will have a strong craving for a Kitsune's favorite foods, fried tofu and azuki beans. In addition, the person will suddenly have an intense fear of dogs. Finally, there will be a small bump somewhere on the person's body. This is where the spirit lives. If the bump is poked or otherwise disturbed, it will simply move to a new location. You cannot remove it. But there are ways to rid someone of Kitsune possession. They can be removed from a person at a shrine to Inari. The person can be licked all over by dogs, which will be so terrifying to the Kitsune that it will leave the person's body in a hurry. And there are more dangerous methods as well, which could harm the person before the Kitsune can be removed, such as covering the person in smoke from burning pine leaves. Another well-known yokai is the Tanuki, who are sometimes called raccoon dogs. They look like a raccoon or a badger, crossed with a dog. These are also mischievous tricksters and shapeshifters, but they're not usually evil or dangerous. They do each have their own personality, though, so there are stories of some who have kidnapped people to eat them or to make them servants of the gods. Tanuki love to play pranks on people. They are known to confuse or trick them out of their money. They often transform into people, but they are also able to turn into inanimate objects, from trees to tea kettles, just to prank people. They can also turn into terrifying monsters to scare people to keep them out of places they shouldn't be, or, just for fun. Like Kitsune, Tanuki can also take over people's bodies. People possessed by a Tanuki will start to act strangely. They'll become extremely hungry and will eat anything, including old, rotten food. The person's gut will grow, but all of the nourishment will go to the Tanuki, and the person will get weaker and weaker and weaker until they die. Tanuki will sometimes possess people as a prank, but will also do so as revenge, mainly if the person has destroyed the Tanuki's den. Tanuki are very powerful, so it is difficult to free someone from possession. Either the Tanuki must willingly leave the person's body, or a powerful priest must drive them out. Kappa are another popular yokai. These creatures look like a cross between a turtle, a frog, and a human. They walk on two legs with webbed feet, wear a shell on their back, and have a beak-like mouth. While kappa are the size of human children, they are stronger than an adult. They are also very smart and able to learn human language. Kappa are usually playful but do have a dangerous side. They are said to attack swimmers and drown people so they can eat their livers. They have one other favorite food: cucumbers. So if you were ever to encounter a kappa and felt you were in danger, you could give it a cucumber to distract it. They hate cows and horses and will attack them for no reason other than they just don't like them. Kappa have a dish-like dent on the top of their heads that must be full of water at all times. This is the source of their power. If the dish is ever empty, the kappa will lose all of its power and be unable to move. So if you ever need to get away from a kappa on land, remember that kappa are very polite. If you bow deeply at the waist to a kappa, it will feel compelled to return the bow, which will spill all of the water out of their dish. However, if you encounter a dangerous kappa in the water, there's no escaping it. Kappa are also very stinky. They're able to pass 3 times as much gas as a human being, and yes, they do like to do so. In front of people. Loudly. And while kappa can sometimes be dangerous or mischievous, they can also be quite helpful. As water spirits, they have been known to help water farmers' crops and protect their lands from flooding. They also know a lot about medicine and are especially good at dealing with broken bones. According to legend, friendly kappa pass this knowledge on to humans. A good way to help them thank them for helping? Leave a big pile of cucumbers near the water. Now, some yokai start off as normal creatures or objects, like the bakeneko. These creatures start as your everyday house cat. As they grow older, they may turn into a bakeneko. You can tell this is happening to a cat by looking at their tail. The longer their tail is, the wiser they are. Cats can develop powers in different ways: by reaching old age, by growing to an exceptional size, or by lapping up a lot of lamp oil, which was made from fish oil. When a cat becomes a bakeneko, they start to walk on their hind legs and start to get bigger. They can grow to the size of an adult human. They become shapeshifters and can learn to speak human languages. They often disguise themselves as smaller cats or as people, sometimes even as their own masters. When bakeneko are in human form, they tend to dress up with towels wrapped around their heads and dance around. And bakeneko are also able to summon fireballs and are known to probably accidentally start house fires. They can eat things bigger than they are, including their masters. There are stories about bakeneko eating their masters, then transforming into their likeness and taking their place. Bakeneko can also create zombies by jumping over dead bodies. Then they can control these zombies like puppets. Now, the oldest and largest bakeneko become nekomata. There are 2 big differences between bakeneko and nekomata. First, nekomata have 2 tails. Their tail splits down the middle into 2 separate tails when they become nekomata. Second, some bakeneko will continue to get along with their human families, but all nekomata hate people. They will intentionally summon fireballs to start huge fires, send zombies to attack people, or use their shape-shifting abilities to trick people. The most powerful nekomata live in the mountains, taking the shape of wildcats like lions and leopards, and they will eat bigger creatures, including bears. Now, a yokai that begins as an object is the choshinobake, the paper lantern ghost. Old paper lanterns may turn into choshinobake. When this happens, the lantern splits apart along a wooden rim, making a large, gaping mouth. Then they gain a long tongue. At the top of the lantern, 1 or 2 eyes will appear. Some may even grow arms and legs, but this is rare. Choshinobake do not harm people, but they do love to scare them. When an unsuspecting guest approaches, they suddenly start to laugh and roll their eyes and waggle their tongue. Now, similar to this is the kasa-obake. This yokai looks like a paper umbrella, and much like the choshinobake, they have 1 eye and a long tongue that hangs out. Kasa-obake have 1 leg that they hop around on. They're relatively harmless and like scaring people. But while choshinobake just startle people, Kasaobake like to sneak up on people and then give them a huge lick with their tongue. While these yokai are harmless, you do want to take care around them. Sometimes dangerous and vengeful spirits will disguise themselves as these harmless pranksters. Now on the dangerous side, there's the Chiboko. Chiboko start as normal trees which grow on battlegrounds and other places where many people have died. These trees absorb blood through their roots and become yokai. From a distance, they'll appear to be normal trees. The only major difference is the piles of bones beneath the tree among the roots and undergrowth. It's usually hard to notice these bones until it's too late. When an unsuspecting person gets too close, the Chiboko grabs them and pulls them way up among the branches. And there, they drain and drink all of their blood, kind of like a vampire. Then the dry bones are dropped back down to earth. Another scary yokai comes from urban legend. Kuchisake Hona, the slit-mouthed woman. She's the ghost of a woman with a cut across her face that looks like a gruesome smile. She covers her face with a mask or a fan. Late at night, she corners an unsuspecting person and asks them if she thinks they are beautiful, or if they think she is beautiful. If they say yes, she reveals her face and asks again if they think she is beautiful. If they scream or answer no, she'll pull out a big pair of scissors and kill them. If they answer yes, she will give them the same scars that she has. The only way to get away from the slit-mouthed woman is to confuse her. 2 ways to do this. First, you can give her a confusing or non-committal answer, something like, you look pretty average, I guess. Or you can also throw money or hard candy at her. These tricks will confuse her and give you time to get away safely. In the past, the slit-mouthed woman attacks are blamed on Kitsune, but recent legends say she is a vengeful ghost. Another yokai that almost looks like a normal person is the Noborabo. These yokai look like normal people except for one big difference. They don't have a face. While they do not hurt people, they do love to scare them. This is a favorite form of mischievous animal yokai like Kitsune and Tanuki, but here's a story of a favorite prank of the Noborabo. A man was walking along an empty road at night. He spotted a cart, its owner with his back to the road. He greeted the merchant, who turned around and asked, "Hey, you want to see something amazing?" Before the man could answer, the merchant wiped a hand down his face, leaving his face blank. The man screamed and ran down the road where another man was waiting near a well. "What happened to you?" the second man asked. The first man explained about the merchant and how he wiped his face away. The second man listened carefully to the story and then said, "Oh, you mean like this?" and wiped a hand down his face, leaving his face blank as well. The man screamed and raced all the way home where his wife was waiting for him. "Honey, you look terrible. What happened to you?" his wife asked. Trembling, the man explained about the merchant and the other man and how they waved a hand over their face and they didn't have faces. "Oh, you mean like this?" said his wife, wiping a hand down her face. And for our final yokai of the night, here's another story. Late one night, a samurai's wife got up to go to the bathroom. As she sat down over the toilet, she felt something reach up and touch her rear end. She jumped up and ran to go get her husband. Suspecting a Tanuki or a Kitsune playing a prank, the samurai grabbed his sword and marched into the bathroom. Sticking out of the toilet was an arm covered in thick black hair. The samurai took his sword and chopped the hand off and put it into a box. A couple of days later, 3 priests stopped by the samurai's home. The samurai invited them in, not knowing that all 3 were yokai. The first said, "Oh, I feel a strange presence in this place." The samurai pulled out a box with a hand and showed it to the priests. The second one looked into the box and said, "Oh, this is the hand of a karote. They live in human toilets, you know." The third priest looked in the box and said, "Oh, this hand is mine!" And he transformed into a huge creature covered in thick black hair. He grabbed the hand and all 3 disappeared, leaving the samurai standing alone with an empty box. A few days after that, the samurai was walking home alone at night. and all of a sudden, he was grabbed and lifted into the air by an unseen force. The force slammed him into the ground, knocking him unconscious. When he came around a few minutes later, he reached for the sword on his belt, only to find it missing. And then he realized the missing sword was the same one he had used to cut off the Kurote's hand. Thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed these stories of different yokai. There are tons more out there. I invite you to come into the library, see if you can find a book on Japanese folklore and mythology, or you can do some research online. There are tons to learn about. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Happy Halloween.